Why doesn't the state come with some schemes for, I think I read in newspapers that stubble which is burnt could be used for this manufacturing the bricks which can be used as a fuel.
There are multiple efforts which have been made, and stubble burning has been coming up before my lords, at least for last 6 months on a continuous basis. And numerous orders have been passed. Center, states, all in tandem are working together with the help of the learned amicus, and through the directions of my lords, a lot has been achieved. I can place all of that before my lords.
2018, your lordships felt that this problem needs a solution and directed the center to come out with a scheme. Under that scheme, all the equipments which are needed to harvest the paddy, they are provided on subsidy. So 80% subsidy to cooperatives and others 50% subsidies to individual farmers. So all the, in fact, our grievance is that all the measures have been taken. The states say they have taken all the measures. The center has spent humongous amount in providing the equipments to the farmers. But every time we have the same story. In fact, last time we got to know, and the state may clarify it, the farmers say that they are being told to burn at a particular time when the satellite doesn't pass over the state. And I pointed out, just a minute, I pointed out to the bench, and the bench specifically took note of this. So we don't know. So that's the reason every time before the pollution actually starts, as a precautionary measure, we request your lordships to direct the states to take effective steps. But I'm sorry to say, since 2018, your lordships have passed extensive directions, but every time it's the same story. And they plead their helplessness before your lordships.
All of this, already forms a part of orders of my lords. Specific steps, and particularly on the government, that there has been some directions from the state, this was looked into. These are central government satellites. This has nothing to do with states.
NASA satellites.
These are some of NASA's and some in Korea. And all those data show that the satellite, the fires, are people who are on the ground. Their reports have come that from 77,000, which was there, the fire incidents 3 years back, it has come down to about 10,900 last year. And we are assuming, it will go down even further this year. A lot has happened. Obviously, we need to reach a stage where it's 0%, zero incidents of stubble burning. We are moving gradually towards that. In 3 years, a lot has been achieved. And I'm sure, with the matter taking this precedence before my lords, further within this year, we'll be able to achieve much more. As far as this particular issue is concerned, kindly have a look at the note on page 2.
In the legislation which prohibits stubble burning.
There is a seasonal burning of crops, which used to earlier happen 2 months later. Now, through a legislation, it was advanced about 2 to 3 months prior because of the water table.
That is Groundwater Conservation Act.
No. Whether you have a legislation preventing stubble burning. Why don't you come out with it?
There is an Environmental Protection Act which is there.
Under the Environmental Protection Act, is there any penal provision?
Yes. There was a penal provision which has been otherwise now through the orders of the court, although whatever the act is, that's being enforced. There have been challans, there have been fines, there have been prosecutions which are going on, and all those data and figures have been provided through affidavits. But it was earlier, criminal prosecution could also take place. Now that's been withdrawn by the central government. So therefore, earlier there were cases which were going.
Why don't you consider reintroducing, if you have a provision for criminal prosecution, at least if some people are sent behind the bars, so it will send a right message.
Exactly. And CAQ, under the CAQM Act, they have those penal provisions. Just take that up.
The directions are issued by CAQM. Directions are also issued by states. Ultimately, it all comes down to implementation.
No, but then if what the learning
prosecution is there under the CAQM Act also. Under the Environment Protection Act, decision makers. Whereas under the Environment Protection Act, there is no penalty. But under the CAQM Act, there is a provision for launching prosecution on the erring officials.
No. Forget about erring officials. It will be difficult for an officer, say, at the block level to monitor so many villages. But if he finds that some of the agriculturists are violating this condition, then if you send at least some people behind the bar, it will send the right message. Why don't you consider having a penal provision even insofar as the agriculturists are concerned?
No, in fact,
Because
section.
I don't think that, Malad, in fact, under the CAQM Act also, there is an exemption to farmers. Malad, as a policy.
No, why? It's a, if you want to have a real intention of protecting the environment, why should not only look for
Malad,
the every 5-year exercise?
Malad, but we'll have to take them with us. We
No, so
can't
take
be-
them, you take them.
Yes.
That's what I said in the beginning, you should have some alternate mechanisms for using the stubble. Because I had read in the newspapers when that can be used for creating bricks, which can be used as a biofuel and stuff.
Biofuel, a lot
Yeah.
of
Malad
industry.
may like to have this issue particularly, Malad, in the coming weeks.
And
The stuff-
then at the same time, you must use both carrot as well as the stick.
Which is what is
Give them carrot, but at the same time, the stick, merely because looking at the 5-yearly exercise, you can't afford to make them unhappy. That doesn't mean that you should not.
It's not about the 5-yearly exercise. It is really a policy of the nation, Malad, to, farmers are at a.
The farmers had a special place in our heart because of their effort we are getting what we eat.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that they should not be brought in order to protect the environment of the country.
Kindly permit us to place the efforts made so far. If your lordships feel that any additional directions are required, my lords may consider having this. We'll file a status report. All the states involved, Punjab, Haryana, UP.
Delhi.
No, Delhi doesn't have any farm, my lords. So
Delhi doesn't have any farm, but Delhi is the one which
Delhi
is
is a-
affected.
Mostly of all.
Delhi doesn't have any farms also, so there's no.
As Mr. Mehra says, that Delhi is recipient of all that is.
So we'll file a status report, the 3 states.
No, you should take all the states on the board together and must have some unified policy.
In fact, Milord, the
Malad-
policy is there. The only thing was, Milord, that particular section 14, earlier had a criminal liability also, Milord, against the farmers. That was, Milord, the farmers were then.
No, you consider it, otherwise we'll issue a mandamus.
Kindly permit us to place the
Yeah.
status report.
You can't just withdraw that prosecution only looking at a 5-yearly exercise.
That prosecution is withdrawn for all. Their penalty provisions are there. My colleague is not correct
No,
in
no,
that.
Milord, I wanted to add on to that, Milord. There is a red entry which is there, which is even a bigger deterrent. Because red entry, what happens, you put it in the land revenue records. And that farmer then cannot either sell his land or he can't take any financial loans or other things. Milord. So it's a huge deterrent for a farmer. So we've done all of that, Milord. The red entries have been initiated, prosecutions have been launched. Earlier, Milord, arrests were also made in some cases. But Milord, it's a kind of.
So we know that it's a huge problem.
Because also farmers majority of the farmers, my lords, are hand to mouth. These are small farmers. Because big farmers, my lords, surely some kind of measures should be taken. But for a person who is only tilling a land of 1 hectare, my lords, for him, that is his be all and end all. That is his livelihood. Now, if you pick him up and put him behind bars, my lords, 5 people who are dependent on him also suffer. So therefore,
We are not saying that do it as a routine. We are only saying that if it is done on a sample basis, then it will act as a deterrent.
Message, send the right message.
policy, 2 of them you will pay, 20 of them you will leave.
My lords, permit us to place the status reports. Your lordships may look.
No.
Lordships, may I just point out this?
Now, let us first finish with the vacancy position.
Yes, sir.
My lords may have it. We'll file updated status reports and then if your
Your
lordship.
Lordship, just in this connection, they may also file, because as your Lordship pointed out in the beginning, this is a problem of the groundwater. Now, what has happened is that the sowing season is delayed because of groundwater conservation. The harvesting period is very short. So that's the reason the easiest thing to do is to burn the crop. So let them actually get into it. That is the crux of the problem. Let them examine their law, because this is by law, they can't sow between a particular period. So let Punjab address your Lordships on that as well.
On what?
No, Lordships, what happens is that because of conserving groundwater, the sowing season has been delayed
Conservation of groundwater or not?
for conservation of groundwater.
It has increased.
No, Lordships, to conserve groundwater, they have delayed the sowing of paddy in the summers. So the paddy is sowed later. As a result, the harvesting period becomes very short. And
Between the
because
two
the
crops.
next, between two crops.
Earlier it
For
used to be,
winter,
let's say 3 to 4 months, now it's about a month and a half.
so for them, the quickest way to harvest is to burn the.
Burn it, yes.
So this is the problem which needs to be addressed and which the states have not addressed till
Well,
now.
we have addressed and those are part of affidavits as well.
Let
And there
them-
are orders of my lords as well on that.
So now what about the vacancy position? Are you satisfied with the reports of the states?
Lordships, they have, I'll just quickly say, Lordships, in Punjab, out of 74, there are 43 vacant posts.
The Punjab?
Hmm.
Yes.
We had more than 600 lords, out of which almost about, how many were vacant? Earlier.
No.
Around 300 were vacant, my lords. Now we have only 43
43
vacant,
vacant posts.
of which, my lords, 90% of them are already advertised. About 20% of them, examinations conducted, only language tests have to be done.
Anyway, so we will grant you again
Yes.
3 months time for
Only,
this.
my lords,
Yeah.
we don't want more than 3, my lords. Probably within a month to 2 months, we should be able to,
Fine.
my lords, fill in all this.
As far as the state of Punjab is concerned, the Rahul Mehra, the learned senior counsel, appearing on behalf of the state, submitted that. So the state of Punjab had a huge vacancy position of 300. The same has been brought down to 43. He further submitted that. The process for filling up
Read from there.
the said 43 vacancies is also under annual person. We therefore direct the state of Punjab to fill up the said 43 posts within a period of 3 months from today.
Grateful.
बाद में जो उसको डायरेक्ट इंडिया स्टेट ऑफ हरियाणा